Hello everybody, this is going to be a guide slash commentary on how to beat Bloodborne Hitless. So rules of Hitless is can't be hit or staggered by any enemy or mobs, and you can't die to any environmental factors like poison or like gravity for damage. So starting off, new game, you want to be choosing the military veteran class. Name doesn't matter, I'm boring and just pick the first letter that it goes on to, but we want to be on military veteran for the class. We'll go through, I'll pause in some stages because this is just going to be showing an example of one run done hitless, but there are different examples of stuff that can happen. So at different points, I'll pause it and point out different things that can happen potentially, especially with boss fights where, again, it's just one example of the boss fight that we'll see. So we'll go into some other things that can happen. But starting out, first split, going up to Father Gascoigne. Wake up in the clinic, and we are going to go to the first mob in the game, which takes a few more practice than you'd expect. We're going to backstab it, so we're going to have to do a charged R2 to its behind, and it can do three things, this wolf. It can either go to the left, right, or back up. If it backs up, it's fine because, so hang on, we'll wait until we get here. So from here, we're going to start running. Run around here, and then once we get just past this bit of table, we're going to use a charged R2 to hit the behind of the wolf. It can move to the left, in which case you're going to be angling over to the left, angling over to the right if it moves to the right, or if it backsteps, you don't really have to do too much as it'll just back up into your R2 anyway. So here, you start shuffling over to the left, so we aim over to the left. It does take a few practice goes at doing that. It looks simpler than it actually is, but with a few goes you'll get it. Grab the blood vials that it drops, and we head out. The items that we pick up are pretty specific, so anything that I pick up in the run, you pretty much need. I think I pick up some extra blood vials just in case. We have to mark out anywhere, but other than that, pretty much everything that I pick up, you'll need to pick up. This next mob, we want to run around his left-hand side and open this lift. We're then going to wait around here for him to approach and bait out another attack. We need to bait out an attack there because otherwise, when we pick up this stuff, he's going to keep chasing us, and he's going to be here whilst we're picking up stuff. So we need him to be busy next to the switch, attacking, so we have time to pick this up, him to approach, and we can then run past him. So we roll through this, grab these Molotov cocktails, and run around this side. This guy back here normally won't attack. Even if he does, just running along this fence, he won't be able to attack you. And because we baited out an attack from the other mob up here, he only is able to attack down here, and we just run past him. All three of them are down there, so we get a chance to climb the ladder. There are some weird occasions where they can get caught, or he doesn't attack, or stuff like that, but 95% of the time, that's all completely fine. We then go up here, and then we head to the dream. I would say don't spam X, or don't spam trying to get to the dream, just do particular clicks when the prompts come up, because it's quite easy to do a gesture there, as the very weird PS4 gesture system works, that you can just randomly do a gesture. So I'd be specific when the prompts come up as opposed to just trying to spam to the dream. We're going to pick up the saw cleaver, and we're going to pick up the hunter's pistol, and that's all we need to do in the dream for this moment. You can buy some Molotovs while you're here, but we'll be able to pick up enough for the Gascoigne fight, as we're going to do a Molotov cheese to beat Gascoigne. So just saw cleaver, hunter pistol, and that's your setup for the run pretty much done. We'll grab armor set in the next couple of splits, and that's pretty much the setup for the entire run. Saw cleaver we won't change away from. One of the best weapons for this run. Very quick attack. So we're going to equip the cleaver and the pistol. Run past, mob on the right, we don't need to worry about him. As we drop down here, you want to lock onto this guy and press dodge forward. So step forward, but angle over here. You don't want to step towards him. You want to step over here, it's just quicker. So we just do a jump up there, unlocking and jumping over here. Grabbing the Molotov, running past him, run down the steps. You want to run around these guys. You can get between here, but it's super easy to get caught between him and the carry, so just always run around here. You can keep sprinting, you've got enough stamina, so keep sprinting until you get to these blood shards, and then immediately run over to the left. You want to bait out this guy here, so run over here, bait out an attack off here, and then run left around this lamppost. Run down here, make sure you got some stamina, go down the steps, and then run. You need to be sprinting here, or else the 2 gunmen will catch you. So make sure to to regenerate some stamina as you're going down those steps. Turn your camera to watch this gunman, as he can hit you in the back. So as you're going down here, keep an eye on him. Grab this blood shard. Now, some mobs can follow you up here. Some of the torch wielding or just normal mobs. So you still need to grab that. So grab that, roll through. But then for this item, I grab from the other side of the fence, just because it's safer in case one of those mobs has chased us. We then grab some more, another item down here next to this mob, these mollies. He can never turn around quick enough to get you. These crows are a bit weird. So crows attack your last position. So here, once we've gone around here, they're going to turn around and they're going to try and attack where you last were. So you can actually just run through, roll, grab, and then you want to run along this fence at the back to avoid this crow on the right. So we grab this and then we run along this right side, rolling. But that's safe. You can kill them if you want with bullets, but it's not necessary. Run past these guys. Be careful of your stamina. You don't want to run out and let the dogs chase you. So make sure to just keep regenerating at save points and keep running. Pardon me. We're going to grab some hunter marks, which we'll need a few of during this run, mainly whilst we're item collecting, but there's a free few there. Run down here. We want to drop onto this object, this structure, as if we drop straight down, we'll do a heavy landing, and that gunman on the right will shoot us. Walk around here, do an R2. So with this, make sure to angle your camera down, as where your camera is facing makes a difference to where the horizontal strikes go in, so you need to be angling the camera down towards the ground in order to make sure this R2 hits these 2 crows. Grab this oil urns, which will make the Molotovs we're going to use on Gascoigne do more damage. We're then going to head up to Gascoigne's house, I think, in order to get a music box, which works quite well with him. We do have to deal with a mob just before, so we want to be running along this bridge and then walking, because we don't want to aggro this guy yet. So we walk across, and once you reach this little bulge on the floor, that's when we're going to do an R2, charge R2 to the back, which then we could do a backstab, but we're actually just going to do another charge R2 because that kills him. I'm not entirely sure if the backstab does kill him, but 2 charge R2s definitely kills him, so that's what I do. Speak with this NPC in order to get a music box. This allows us to stagger and do an early transform of Gascoigne. Grab this. Sometimes it drops shiny coins, which aren't useful at all, but sometimes most of the time drops blood vials, so worth grabbing. Drop down here, use a blood vial to heal, and then drop down again. As you drop in, you can equip the 3 items that we need, which is the music box, the oil urns, and the Molotovs. Have the Molotovs equipped because these guys can be awkward. So there's 2 things that can really happen with these guys. Well, there's several ways that can happen with these guys, but there's 3 mobs here which can be randomly placed during each playthrough. If they're all along this left side and you're not in danger, because these can attack very quickly, you're just going to run down this right side. But in this case, he's angled towards the right. So if we try running, he can attack us pretty quickly. So what we're going to do is when you shoot them, they actually get knocked back quite a bit. So we're going to group them together by shooting this one. And then 2 Molotovs kills them. So we're going to shoot them to group them and try to get rid of them as many as possible. So throw 2, looks like we're only going to be able to get rid of 2 of them. And then this guy, we're going to aggro in order to bait him over to the left and then run around. But yeah, if it's not safe, then just shoot them to group them and then Molotovs. This pig, you want to... Let me go back a little bit. This pig, you want to run up and at the second archway, I should say. So we're going to be running down here, and then at this second archway, just walk a little bit, regenerate your stamina, and then we're going to be running right towards his snout. So we're going to rub against his snout. This is going to make him do, or restrict the attacks that he can do. If you do a wide run of him, or wide berth run of him, he can do this really big swing attack where he turns around, which can very easily hit you, even if you try to roll, because it just does like a 180 spin. So you're going to be trying to rub against his snout first, and then hug his left side or his right side. This makes him either do a head attack, spit stuff, or does a jump body slam kind of thing. All attacks which attack his front, so all three of them, you can just run around to his back. But if you do a wide berth, then he can do that really wide attack. It could be worth doing it just so you see what happens, but honestly, if you just stay near his front to bait one of those three attacks and then run around. So yeah, this is the body slam thing I was talking about. Then we do a backstab, charged R2, do a backstab, and then we do another charged R2 to finish. Then we're going to grab all these items on the floor. Need all three of them. Well, we don't really need the blood vials off the pig, but they're just easy to get right there. We've got all our quick items set up. We've got our music box, oil urns, and cocktails on the quick items, so we can pretty much go straight to Gascoigne now. So Gascoigne takes, when you use the music box 3 times on him, that causes him to transform. We're going to do that in order to, because the Molotovs do more damage whilst he's in beast form. But first of all, we need to set that up. So starting the fight, we run in. We're going to go towards the left-hand side and hide behind a tree for him to attack, as well as to protect us in case he fires his gun. So we're going to hide behind this tree at this spot. He is very annoying at this point and does something that it's very rare that he does this, where he chases us around, which isn't too bad because that just means he's going to attack us with his axe. But what normally happens is he either attacks this tree or fires his gun. So that's why you need to be behind it to make sure he doesn't hit you, especially with that gun firing. And then after he's done an attack against the tree, we then use the music box. This time he is weird and chases us around. So in this case, we just run around the other side of the gravestones and then use the music box after he's done an attack. Do it after he's doing or during an attack whilst you've got something in the way, as otherwise he can chase you down whilst you're in the animation. We're then going to run up to the top of the steps. There's 2 things you can do here. I do it this way. I just have preference towards it. But another way is to run to the top of the steps, get behind the fence at the top, and use the music box as well to stagger. But this way I prefer. So you're going to lock onto him, and then he's going to do... He's got 2 or 3 attacks. He can do a jumping axe attack. He can do a run up, so you can do a single axe swipe. Both things you can just... whilst you're locked on, you can do a dash past him. You can also do a gunfire, in which case we just dash to the right or left and wait for him to do one of his other attacks, because he can just stand here and fire his gun, and then we just dash to the right until he's ready to chase after us. In this case, he just walks up to us and attacks, so we dash down, and then we're going to come back here and go around here. So now he'll start attacking, trying to attack us from here, but he can't reach us. You want to be here and not here, because here, this little gap, he can fire his gun through. But once you're here, you want to use the music box for the second time. This will stagger him, and then we need to wait a little sec in order for the music box to reset, because it takes a few seconds. You don't need to do this. I just started doing it during these later runs. And you can need it if you miss some of these Molotovs soon. The only way you can safely do damage is extending the saw cleaver and doing this overhead R1 that it has. But yeah. But you don't need to do that, because you should have enough damage with Molotovs. After the 3rd music box, he does his transform, so we unequip the music box. So, immediately after this transform attack, there's a couple of weird things that can happen. So the cheese that we're doing here is we're going to be standing in this corner and throwing oil urns and Molotovs. Normally he can't hit us, so once we're against here, just throwing the oil urns and the Molotovs, he can't hit us. So we just do that until he's dead. There is a couple of situations where he can hit us, which is more of a glitch than anything else. And a common time... Oh, that skipped way too far forward. far back. And a common example, I should say, I guess, is immediately after he's transformed, if he does a jump attack, like straight in the air to do a slam, there is a timing difference that you can notice between now and when he does it whilst we're just throwing the Molotovs. So you'll find this when once you're fighting him and you've had experience in this fight. But when he's doing this jump slam, you'll notice if he hangs longer in the air, which normally happens on the very first time he does it after he's transformed, that means he's going to do a mega slam, let's say, and the hitbox is going to like hit down here. Like you can be back here in the right position and he's still going to hit you because the hitbox is going to go through the floor, through the fence, and it's going to hit you. So after he's transformed, you want to be careful of that happening. And he can also do it with other attacks, other ones that also have a certain timing to it. So he has another one where he can build up, where he takes a sec and then does a flurry of attacks. Again, there is a timing difference between when he does it normally and when he is going to hit below. So the normal hitbox range is around here. When he does this delayed one, it's going to like hit around here and it's going to hit you. So you need to be aware of that. In this example, I'm extra cautious, so you'll see me walking away just because he's just transformed. So this is the time where it's most likely going to happen. So I'm just being extra careful, walking away. And now it's been enough time, so I just go straight into it because it's very, very not likely to happen right now. You want to stay in this corner. If you go down here, you can get hit. Don't walk too far away from the wall or go too far over to the left, as that makes him likely to walk down the stairs and chase you. And if that happens, then you just need to walk around, go up the steps, and dash past him again, the same way you got him into this position in the first place. But that's Gascoigne. Switch between the Oilers and the Molotovs in order to maximise the damage and just keep throwing them up. And that's Gascoigne cheese. Open the gate and pop this Cold Blood. And also take off this armor set, as we're going to be selling it in the dream right now in order to buy some stuff. Grab this brooch. And we're going to do a lot of buying right now because as soon as we enter Cathedral Ward, the prices in the dream increase by quite a bit. So we're going to grab a lot of the stuff we're going to be needing in the run right now, as it's quite cheap. So we're going to be going up. We're going to be buying a couple of Gascoigne armor sets from the Insights shop, which we're then going to sell in order to buy some more stuff. That is some more resources. So we're going to buy the cap and the garb. And then we're going to sell all the armor that we have, which gives us enough for 25 knives, 29 or 30 Molotovs, and 1 Punji Cocktail. So 25 throwing knives, 1 Punji Cocktail, and as many Molotovs as you can buy. Normally you can buy 30, sometimes you can buy 29. It don't really make too much of a difference. And then we head over to go to Cathedral Ward. And then also, as we go into it, we're going to be grabbing a couple of extra special items, including the armor set, which is going to be the one that we're going to have for the entire run. So that's weapons and armor set done dusted. The only changes really being gems and upgrades, and obviously leveling up. But then, so now we're just going to head up to Cathedral Ward. The one thing I like about Bloodborne is it's quite systematic, so these things can be done like the same way every time, and that includes certain bosses, which we'll go through. And as long as you don't deviate, then this will happen in the exact same way each time. We're going to grab this item out of the chest, which is allows us to place blood gems onto our weapon to increase the damage, which we definitely need, so make sure you pick it up. I've forgotten it a couple of times, which isn't too big of an issue, it's just a hassle to go back and collect it. Where I've opened the chest and just not grabbed the item, but I think everyone will do that at least once. Grab the lamp, and then you want to equip Molotovs now, just in case, because there's a point later where things can go wrong, so you want to have those equipped in your quick items just to be safe. Grab the armor set. So this mob, I ran too early down here. So we just go back here a sec. So, like I say, equip Molotovs to make sure they're equipped. So you want to wait for this guy to walk past to go over here. I ran too early, which isn't too big of an issue. Like, he's not too big a deal, really. But we're going to be just running down, running around, and grabbing this armor set. Like I said, I run too early, so he notices me. But it's not too big of a deal. So we grab that, and then run through. So normally he would be here. That's where he normally is if you leave him. And then we're going to grab that, and then he can do two things. If you grab this, normally he'll just do some gesture, which you can run past. Sometimes he'll do an attack, which you can easily roll, but he's not too big an issue. He'll either be here, do a gesture, which you just run past because it doesn't do anything, or he tries to attack, but if you just run in, he won't be able to catch you. The biggest issue when he's around here, though, is that he'll follow you. So what we do to avoid that is we're going to run down, and we're going to go next to these steps. Want to walk to make sure that these guys don't aggro, but we're going to stand around here because normally this guy will come down the steps, and if he gets to around here, just walk a little bit further forward. It just means you're too far back, but as long as you're far enough along this fence around here where I am, he will eventually just keep an eye on him, and at some point he'll just turn around and say sod it, leave it, at which point you then want to run back to the steps. So once he's turned around, he's not following us now because I aggroed him early. But once he's turned around, you want to come back to the steps, or else the dogs in front of you will notice you. So I feel he's not following us, so now I run back to the steps and just wait for this cycle. So we run back up here and just being extra cautious to make sure that guy's not following us. So these guys are walking back and forth, so you want to wait for the dog to go over to the right, because the dogs are dangerous. The reason why we have the Molotovs equipped in the quick items is if the dogs chase us, the easiest, or I should say safest way to deal with them is to fire a bullet at them, which knocks them back, and immediately throw in a Molotov cocktail. That's the safest way to deal with them. But doing it this way means you'll never have to deal with them, apart from maybe just the next section. But that is the safest way to deal with them. Bullet, and then immediately throw in a cocktail. Once they've gone past the tree on the right, we then follow this guy, hugging the left fence, walking or light jogging. Just don't go past him, and then wait for him to turn around before continuing on. So like keep to his left and just behind him slightly. Walking around, he turns around, and then we continue on our way. Once he's gone reasonably far away, then we start running. There's two dogs up here, so we're going to run up the stairs, aggro them, run down and behind the fence here. And then we're going to wait for them to appear and then throw Molotovs to finish them off. This is the other case. God, that's bright. This is the other case where you might have to deal with them because these two can be weird. In most cases, they'll appear here, one might appear, and then one might follow down afterwards. But sometimes they can just run down the stairs. There's no real tell. There's no way to sort of stop it. It's a rare occurrence that happens that you just have to be ready for. And like I say, the safest way to deal with them is bullet and then instant Molotov cocktail. So that's how you deal with them if that happens. Strafe the bullets, deal with this guy. He takes 3 hits of any variation, 3 R1s, 2 R1s, 1 L1, anything you like. We're then going to go and speak to Alfred, who we need 3 fire papers for. So we don't want to... Make sure you don't waste any of these because we need these 3 fire papers for individually for different events, I guess. So we definitely need them. There is a place we can get more, which could be useful for when you're doing practice playthroughs, which I'll mention when we get to that spot. But we do need these 3 fire papers, the necessities. Grab this. This mob can chase us down as we drop down or just stand here. Either way, you just attack him. Your Soul Cleaver attacks much faster than he can attack. 3 hits will do him in. Grab that Madman Knowledge, and then we head down. Grab this item on the left, which is a gemstone, which we need. Although we don't really need it, but it's nice. It does more damage. And then we run past. There is a wolf on our left, which on rare occasion can follow us all the way down here. 80 to 90% of the time, he won't chase us. We can grab this punchy cocktail and we're completely fine. But in some cases, he will chase us down and he'll follow us all the way outside this door. Two ways to deal with it, or I guess two safe ways to deal with it. You can't just fight it straight on, but it's hitless, so it's off a needless risk. You can either go outside the door, have the wide area in order to fight him properly, so you want to dodge around, like you did with the first wolf in the game, do a backstab and finish him off. Another way is to throw a punchy cocktail against the wall and use the lamp to go to the dream. In this case, in most cases that you'll deal with, he's not chasing. I look behind me just to make sure. And then we're going to do a bit of item management. So equip the hunter set. And then we're going to set up our items with fire paper at the start. And then punji, molotovs, throwing knives. You want to walk down here slowly and continuously clicking the lock on button, as you don't want this lizard to run off the edge, because then it's awkward time-wise, I guess. So just walk slowly. Once you can lock on, then walk forward quickly and instantly throw a Molotov. If you take too long, he walks off the edge, which can chase him, but then you have to go through a whole route in order to get back. So if that does happen and you make a bee of it, then just go back in where you came from, grab that lamp, go back to the dream, come back here, and that will reset his position and do that again. That's the quickest and easiest way. But you want to be doing that because then you can just grab the shards and not have to do any of that messing about. Grab these blood vials. I don't think you need them. I just grabbed them just for fall damage cases that we do, but I don't think you strictly need them. Molotov to get this guy on the bridge. There's going to be a mob to your left, so you want to keep running down these stairs. Don't slow down. Rebuild a bit of stamina, and then we're going to be running down this place. Run to this guy's left. All of his attacks is a right swing, so you'll never get hit. Drop into this and drop down. With that, you want to make sure you drop onto that bit as opposed to a fall down, like straight onto this ground. As although you will survive, you'll do a heavy landing or hard landing, and this Gatling guy will hit you as you're recovering from that hard landing. So you do need to drop onto that spot on the right there. We're going to run through, and this is en route to the Bloodstarved Beast, which is technically a optional boss, but we get it because we get access to the doll set, which we can sell for like 35 grand, which just makes this route so much easier. I'm hitting this to aggro that mob, as he can take a while to notice. Notices us now, so now he can chase us, just for a bit of safety. Then we go over here, we're going to throw a Punji cocktail down here to aggro them all. And then we're going to head off down towards Bloodstarved Beast. Neither Punji is equipped, as we're going to be throwing a few more down here as we collect a few items. And there's a few wolves about. So make sure you have full stamina here. And then we're going to run right through. There's a couple of mobs on your left and right, but if you keep running, don't have to deal with it. Throw a Punji against this pillar. To your left is going to be some more Punji cocktails, which we need, so grab them. We throw that Punji because there's this wolf on the right, which chases. Throw another Punji against this corner of the wall. Make sure it goes in the corner. I have thrown it over that fence on the right and doesn't do anything, so make sure you throw it against the wall. And then run up. There is a wolf above you. So we're going to grab these pellets and then immediately throw a Punji cocktail on the other wall. Now, this other wolf, he can do a couple of things. Here he's being nice, he stays here. Sometimes he can follow us all the way down here. And then if he's here, then we need to throw a Punji cocktail on the left-hand side, as that will attract him over there, and then just run past him. And sometimes he'll chase us all the way up here, in which case he'll go to that Punji cocktail we just threw for the other wolf. But in most cases, he'll stay down here. But those three things can happen with that wolf, so be ready for each of them. Run down here, and this is just going to be a run all the way to the Bloodstarved Beast Arena. So this is all about just stamina management. Make sure you don't run out. Just manage your run. Let it drop, but don't let it empty. We're going to grab that lizard thing there later on, because we need the upgrade materials. So Bloodstarved Beast. Bloodstarved Beast, there is two strats. I'm only going to go into one, as it's the only one that I know, and I find it much more consistent. But there is a lot of people who use the other one and have found consistency with it, which is a punji strategy where you stay in the top right, throw punjies, and use buff weapons to finish. So if you're interested in that one, I recommend looking it up. A lot of people use it. A lot of people find it consistent. I just personally find this method much easier and more consistent personally. But there is that method. I'll only go into the one that I use though. So, and in terms of that method, it's pretty much a straight up fight with a few specific attacks that we do. But walking up, we're going to buff with fire paper and beast blood pellet. Sorry. And there's a couple of attacks that you can do. This jump attack is one of them, where we can just circle around to his left. So you always want to circle around to +star beast left. So many of the attacks you can avoid just by circling around or strafing around to his left. Never go around to his right, as pretty much most of his attacks will catch you. But this raising up attack that he does there, that's a really nice one. Once he does this, you know you can circle around, and I'm going to do 2 backstabs. So he drops down. We're going to unlock the camera because it just makes it so much easier to get a good angle or a good strike on him. We do a charged R2 to his back, which daggers him, expecting a backstab, but that doesn't do as much damage as just doing another charged R2. So another one, we get another R1 in there. I back away here, so I think you need to be aware of is the pillars. They can be really annoying, so I back off in order to give me some space, because you can get trapped between the pillar and him, which means you can't strafe around to his left-hand side, which can easily get you hit. So this me here backing up is giving myself space. This attack here, where he puts his claw out to the right, this one I stay on his left-hand side again and fire in order to try to parry him. But if we miss the parry, then it doesn't matter, because we're on his left-hand side and means he'll just run past us. He ended up getting the parry, so there's 2 ways you could do. You could do another charged R2, but with this parry, I prefer doing R1 attacks to build up my Beast Blood Pellet, as the way the Beast Blood Pellet works is the more attacks you do, the more this builds up and the more damage you do. So I prefer doing some R1s for damage as opposed to the visceral attack, which I'd also recommend doing. So first phase transition, he has 2 of them. We want to punish both of them. So once he does this, we're going to do a charge R2 again to stagger him, charge R2. And normally this will put him into another phase transition, in which case, so another charge R2, another charge R2, and then now one to finish. There we go. But yeah, that's a really quick example of the fight. Most cases will, because you just do so much damage. But with the fight, there is 2 really nice attacks that you can do. The first one we saw at the start of the fight. So this raise up attack where he drops down. There is another one where he does like a right swipe. Not this dash forward one that he does in a minute that we saw. But just where he stays stationary and does a right swipe. So it's similar to this one, except he'll be stationary and do a right sweep. That one as well, we can just circle around to his left and do a backstab. So that attack and the first attack we saw here, those 2 are really nice. So just circling around to his left-hand side and doing those 2 backstabs. Pretty much every one of his other attacks, you want to just circle around, avoid, and let him do his thing. He's got various flurry attacks and stuff like that. You just want to avoid those. Circle around to his left-hand side and wait for him to do either that fall attack at the start that we just saw, the stationary right swipe, which I'm describing, or does this attack, which you want to parry, and then do some R1 strikes. Couple of things to watch out for in second phase. First phase, I should say, with this phase transition is a lot quicker than the second phase, or the second phase transition. So don't be concerned if you don't get this backstab, because it is a very quick phase transition. Try to get it, as it makes the fight so much simpler, but don't be worried about it, because the way the poison works in here, he'll only really poison you if he strikes you in this, which means you've been hit anyway. So just fight this phase as you would first phase. But second phase, there is a couple of weird things where this phase transition is a lot slower than second, so you'll almost certainly be able to punish this, and that will almost always finish the fight. But if he doesn't, then he'll have an aura of poison around him, which means you can't stay near him for a long period of time. So be careful of that, which can be worth having antidotes equipped just in case. But the main thing that can happen is he'll do an AoE attack, where he'll back up and then like crouch down and charge up kind of thing in order to do this AoE attack. If that happens, you want to get into him. You want to get close. It takes a while for him to charge up, get behind him, and do these charged R2 agains in that phase, which with the amount of damage you've done up to now, will almost certainly finish him. But you need to do that because if he gets the AoE attack off, even if the AoE doesn't hit you, it gives him like an extra aura of poison, which will almost certainly poison you. And once you're poisoned, that's a hit. That counts as a hit, and that will end the run. And it's next to impossible to avoid. Just normal second phase poison, you'll pretty much be able to move away and be fine. But once he gets that AoE off, you're sort of screwed. So make sure to finish him off if he tries to charge that up. If there is any queries on that, like I say, this is just one example of the fight, and as well as with many of these bosses, some of these bosses are systematic, and we'll go the same every way. But if there is anything that happens weird or anything like that, be sure to comment, and I'll get back to you if there is any extra queries on that or any future bosses. We need to go back to the dream and head straight back because we want to respawn in that lizard that disappeared as we were running down. I also might not mention that we needed to run straight to this church to Bloodstabbed Beast, as there was a wolf following us the entire way. So you do need to run down to this Bloodstabbed Beast arena straight away. Apologies if I didn't mention that as we were heading down here, and that's why we didn't get this lizard before. But now we're going to get it, so we just run up, kill it, and make sure to grab the material. I have killed it and forgotten the material and had to grab it later, so just make sure once you killed it to actually pick it up. Grab these, and then in our second quick items menu, we add the marks in order to port back. We don't use that for anything other than the marks, just for ease really. So mark back, and then we're going to go back to the dream to do a quick upgrade to get ready for Amelia. Amelia, as opposed to Bloodstabbed Beast, is a fight that will go the same way every single time, assuming you do it correctly. So we go in, I like to restock on a couple of things just in case, so Molotovs restock up on, and then we're going to go +2 on the Soul Cleaver. If you don't have +2, if you don't have the gems, it means you've missed something. So I'd recommend going back in the video, making sure you've grabbed the 2 lizards that we've grabbed, as well as any other shards that we pick up on the way. So I saw there +2 on the weapon, and then we grab some punch cocktails from the inside shop. And now we're going to go and grab a couple of things, and then we're going to go to the Amelia fight. But in this split, we're going to be grabbing the doll set, which we needed to kill the Bloodstabbed Beast in order to access. As I mentioned before, we can sell that for 35,000 blood echoes, which sorts out leveling up for the next few bosses and sections, and pretty much a lot of things. So this is now open because we killed the Bloodstabbed Beast, so we're going to be heading up. You can pop stuff whilst you're in the elevator. I didn't have enough time, I just remembered, so that's why the menu in. Run around this right side. You don't need to kill this guy. I do just for extra Quicksilver bullets for later on. Run past this guy on the right side. You don't need to interact with him. He'll never hit you if you keep running. Make sure to have Molotov equipped, as we're going to be killing a lizard here for upgrade materials. So throw that. I keep calling it a lizard because I just think of Dark Souls crystal lizards. I really don't think they're actually lizards, but I don't know what the name of them are. So I'm going to continue calling them lizards. We're going to run around here, walk to around here, and then you just want to angle yourself up as you're going to be rolling towards this. It takes a few practices, and be extra careful, as you might have saw there was a bit of wood sticking out. If you hit that, it'll nudge you to the right, and you'll die to gravity. So make sure you don't roll as close to it as I just did. Even though I'm safe there, just be extra certain. Heal, drop down, and then we'll head to the workshop. Heal again because we'll be dropping down again afterwards, or you can heal afterwards. Just make sure you have full health as you exit this part, or near enough full health. Run in and then just grab these items that we're going to pick up. So the doll sets, the, like I say, echoes galore. We're going to grab just a couple of extra things in here for ease, really. Hunter's Bone, we buy to sell, really. It's not too important. The umbilical cord, we get for insight, so we can grab some pungy cocktails and some shards later on. Like I say, we head back out. Make sure you have relatively near full health. Be careful here. I've died more than a few times, and I really shouldn't have. But these wooden planks can be weird. They can nudge you to the right, and you'll just drop down and die to gravity. So make sure you roll or walk or run just along this wall, because you really just don't want to drop down. So I roll towards the wall, drop down, and then drop down. This mob's interesting. If we just run around his right and open the door, he's programmed to stand up and turn around, so you don't have to interact with him at all. So he's turning around, you never have to deal with him. Open the door, run away. Once we're at here, we're going to be running past. Make sure you have full stamina here as you're going to be running past. The dog may attack sometimes, but if you keep running down that right hand side, running through, he's never attacked me, ever in like tens of attempts, which sounds weird than saying hundreds of attempts. Tens of attempts. Anyway, grab the cold blood, switch, grab this item, which I think is not a cold blood. Yeah. Once you grab this, you'll have aggroed the mobs on the stairs, but we've got time to open this lever, and then we want these guys chasing us. It's going to clear the path for us running up. So we run around here. Grab this item, which I think is another cold blood. Yep. And then run up here. If you're a bit quick, the big mob might still be here, so just wait here. Wait for him to go down the stairs. Don't go too close to aggro him. And then we're going to be running past and up the stairs. There's some blood vials there on the right, which you can grab if you need, or if you want, if you're doing if it's your first playthrough. So this is an annoying section. The most consistent way I found was this route here, so run to the right and then running up. The reason I do this is because this guy is super annoying. I recommend testing your own ways, but this is the way I found, getting to the right hand side and then turning around and running up the stairs, so following that route, because this guy can aggro early. In this case he didn't. Like, this is what we want, and this, like, here he's pointed his finger. That means we've got plenty of time to get to the door, open it, and get through to Amelia. But if he aggroes early, you're just gonna have to roll on his attacks. It's he's annoying. If he aggroes early, you just gonna have to react in time and roll his attacks. It can be worth aggroing him early on purpose during practice in order to learn how to deal with his attacks. But most of the times, if you go down that route, he'll aggro late and you'll be able to open the door and just run past. But just be warned, that can happen and isn't uncommon. Anyway, going into Amelia. Amelia is the same every single time if you do it this exact way. We're going to be buffing with Fire Paper and Beast Blood Pellet, got many words. And then once we pass this line, that initiates the fight. So, doing this the same way every single time, and the fight will go the same every single time. So, to her left hand, R1, L1, L1. 3 attacks to the left hand. To the back right leg, R1, L1, L1. Staggers. You want to run around to the left leg, and you want to make sure you have full stamina. And then you're going to do R1, L1, L1, L1. 4 attacks. Make sure to go back to untransform your weapon, as you want it to be the untransformed state, as this changes the type of damage it does, and I can't remember the exact differences. I think it's like blunt to serrated damage, but whichever one it is, this is the form you want it in, the untransformed one, because it'll do more damage to Amelia. But we back up and we do a visceral attack to the head. We then go up to the left leg, and then we're going to do an R1, L1, L1, L1. And then we're going to untransform again, and then we're going to do an R1 to the back right. We're going to do 2 R1s, 1 to the back right leg, and then 1 to the arm. You want to do it in that order because it's easy. This makes it more consistent. If you do it to the leg and do it to the arm, it's easy to separate that. If you do it to the arm and then do it to the leg, you have a chance to hit the arm twice. It's quite easy to do, which will then break the arm, which then makes things awkward because she can act differently. So make sure you hit the leg, hit the arm, and that will happen the same way. Walk over to his right hand side, as she'll always backstep. Break the arm. R1, L1, L1, L1. 4 attacks. It's hitting the arm because that breaks it, makes you stagger. 4 attacks. If you do that, same attacks as I just described and showed, this fight will happen the exact same way every time with the +2 Soul Cleaver. Exact same. Just make sure you hit those limbs in that exact order with that exact stats. Weapon, order, etc, etc. It will go the exact same way. So arm, R1, L1, L1. Make sure to hit the arm. Make sure you don't hit the leg. R1, L1, L1. It's very particular on the limbs. Make sure you hit the right limbs. So leg, 4 attacks. Untransform, visceral attack. Back to the back left leg, 4 attacks. Staggers on the third. L1, untransform, leg, arm, 2 R1s. Walk around, break arm, and then 4 attacks. Same way every time if you do that order with those attacks. Then we're going to, we need the password to go into Forbidden Woods, so we interact with this skull. And then we're going to be using we're going to mark out to Cathedral Ward. Again, if there's any queries on Amelia, then description, but in comments. But like I say, if you do that in the exact same way, it's going to happen in the exact same way. So there shouldn't really be anything weird that goes off. Moving on to the hardest boss in the game, I would say the Nazguls, or the Shadow of Yharnam. Technically, I just call them Nazguls. But first of all, we need to collect a few items on the way in Forbidden Woods. So we run up here, past here. We opened this gate earlier when we went to Amelia. We opened the gate as well here as we were drawing them down the stairs. So we're going to go in here, grab a few of these Madman's Knowledge, as we're going to need them for insight to purchase some blood shards later, as well as some punching cocktails. So grab all these. I think there's 4 or 5 or so. This one in front of this mob, once you grab this, that'll aggro him. So make sure you grab this and immediately run. Have Molotovs equipped, as we're going to be throwing a Molotov at this crow. And there's this mob over here, this brain sucker, I think they're called. This guy can run quickly at you, so what you want to be doing is position yourself back here, and you want to be backing up into this doorway, as if you just stand around here and throw, he can just run through. The Molotov will go over his head, and he can attack while you're still in that animation, so make sure you're backing up into that doorway. Then throwing the Molotov. Grab the twin shards there, which we need. You can ignore this. And we're going to grab this gemstone as well. I think this is gemstone. Yep. Ignore that, although that is antidote, so if you're doing any longer runs, you could grab those on the side there. Go through here. We got the password from interacting with the skull in the Amelia arena. And then that's with him to get another Madman's Knowledge. And now it's pretty much item collection time. So we're going to be going through Forbidden Woods, grabbing various items for upgrades and leveling up. So yeah, make sure you've got enough health to do that drop down, healing just before you drop down there. Make sure to have a Molotov here, as we're going to be doing this quite quickly. You want to aggro this guy up to this level. Make sure he's at this level. You don't want him too far down, as he will be chasing us. So make sure he's at the top here before dropping down. So he's at the top, and now we drop down. Now we've got time to get down, use the light the lantern, and throw a Molotov cocktail. So we're lighting this, and there's going to be a crow around here, which we're going to throw a Molotov at. Throw it immediately. You want to get rid of this guy, and the reason we're getting rid of this guy is because we're going to be exiting out of here later, and if the crow's still alive, he can attack us as we're opening this gate. So that's why we're killing this crow now. But make sure you throw it immediately to make sure that mob that we just drawn away a minute ago doesn't follow us down and hit us whilst we're in that animation. Run past this guy, strafe this guy's bullets, and then run past. Make sure not to walk over that trap, or else you'll get whacked by a spiked log. Throw a punch against the wall to attract this guy, and then run past. Drop down on the right hand side. If you drop down straight down or on the left hand side, you'll aggro a mob, so drop down on the right hand side. Molotov this guy, one of the lizards. Again, upgrade materials, and you've got to Molotov him, or otherwise he'll run into and aggro some crows. Walk slowly to not aggro these guys, but sort of like activate them or make them move away, as you want that guy to be around that tree before continuing, because you don't want him following, as he can attack us and he isn't bothered about punges. Throw a punji here to attract this guy, and then just run past and grab this item. You can run past without the punji, but it's just safer, and you'll never get hit if you throw a punji there. So just do it like that. Same thing up here. We want to kill these dogs in the cages, because we're going to be grabbing these blue elixirs in the house, which if we go into the house without killing these, they are all released and will chase us and trap us in the house, and you will almost certainly get hit. So we go in here, grab blue elixirs, and at this point the dogs would have been released, so that's why we kill the dogs first. Grab these, handy to have. Grab these behind the wall. I don't really know how that works, but we'll grab them anyway. And then we're going to use a blue elixir. We're going to use this to make sure that this mob above doesn't aggro as quickly and throw Molotovs. I don't know why I lost the route then. Because if they throw a Molotov on this like oily water, it spreads and really easy to get killed by it. But we throw a Molotov at him, run up this wall. It takes a couple of goes to get used to it, but it's not difficult. Just like hug this right wall and just run up it, and you'll be fine. But yeah, there's a guy above here who throws Molotov cocktails, so which is why we need the blue elixir equipped or in use, as otherwise he'll throw it, it'll spread along the ground, spread along the oily water, and will either kill us, pretty much certainly hit us. Backstab this guy twice. You can do a backstab as well. Again, I just do 2 R2s, kills him, and I think it takes less time as well. So I leave this. With the blue elixir, it's less common, but just for safety, I leave this first, because if there's a gunman above us where we just double backstabbed that mob, and if he's noticed us early for some reason, he really shouldn't, but if he has, then whilst we're picking this up, you can get shot in the back. But if we grab this and grab this, these punjies in here as well, and then come back, and on the way back we then grab it, you're never going to get hit. So I just grab it in this order for safety. And again, it just puts the risk to 0. And now we're going to run past. This gunman's still going to be an issue, so make sure you're listening out for the gunshot, as you may have to strafe it. But in most cases, like there, I just dash to the left there just in case. But in most cases, you'll be fine. Run through here. Careful of the gunman in the background here, over here, as he can sometimes shoot, which you'll just need to strafe. Run around the cannon guy, and then in we go. Again, we're just going to grab a couple of items before heading off deeper into Forbidden Woods. So have punjies equipped. Drop down, and we're going to go throw one against the wall to aggro this mob, or to attract this mob to the wall, and then climb up. This guy will follow us, but we don't really have to worry too much about him, in fairness. He'll follow us, but we're going to be dropping down after grabbing these next couple of items, so he never really gets a chance to do anything to us. So we're going to grab these poison knives here, and then some poison knives on the outside as well. as well as the mob that was standing here who uses the cannon. If he's standing here, you're completely fine. You drop down and you continue on your way. If he's not here, like this circumstance, he's follows us in, but he'll stay only at the front. So we're going to wait for him and then do a plunge attack. I think in this run I actually miss him, but in most cases you can just do a plunge attack and then just run away. Yeah, I miss him, so I just roll away, which is a bit dodgy, but if you have better aim than I, you can just plunge attack him and then roll away and run away. You want to have your knives equipped now, as we're going to throw knives to kill this snake mob. It takes a while, it takes about 13 to 14 knives, but it's safe. Just make sure, because he will like walk up to us, to make sure to backtrack as he's approaching us, as he can run quite quickly, so just make sure you've got space. So that's him done. Now we're going to go up and activate that shortcut, or open that shortcut up that I mentioned towards that the crow would hit us if we hadn't Molotovs, or potentially hit us. But just getting rid of that risk. We're also going to kill 2 NPCs here, which is just for souls, really, just for easy echoes. So we go through, we open this, where the crow would be on our right, that's where we Molotov in. And then we aggro this NPC, which requires 3 hits. And then we're going to run to the elevator, as he's going to just walk off and die to gravity. Roll off the back end of it a little bit early. I just do that for extra safety, as he has landed on me if I've been on the platform for too long. Just dropped and hit me, so just roll off the end just to be safe. Once he's died, then another NPC will spawn over here. So you want to make sure he approaches and then is following us. Run back inside. Make sure he's following us here, as sometimes if you've run straight to the elevator, then he won't follow us inside. So you want to wait around here, make sure he's approaching, and then once he's sort of entered, then go on the elevator. And then again, roll off. Gravity does its work. Simple. And then roll back off the elevator because he's in the way, so you can't actually roll forward. And we want to send that back up as we're going to mark out in a sec. Follow this route to grab these particular items. So cold bloods, easy echoes. And then follow this route quite precisely, as it avoids the snakes and only grabs the items we really need. Be a little careful. There is a sort of like indents kind of thing here, which you can drop off, and gravity will get you this time. So make sure you're hugging this right hand side quite a bit to make sure you don't drop down there. But then we just run past this mob, grab the shards, run down here. You don't really need this Madman's Knowledge, but again, it's just handy for extra plunges. Drop down here, and then this is our last item before we mark out back to lamp go into the dream, and then we'll be leveling up and upgrading our weapon. After that, everything's set up, and it will just be a direct path to Shadows of Yharnam, which is quite a tricky fight, which we'll go into quite a bit, I think. But yeah, I do wish the loading screens were a bit quicker. We get that small items that's from the mob, one of the NPCs that drop down, but for some reason we only get the item once we reappear or come back to the dream. I don't really know how that works, but we're going to sell it anyway, so it's not too important. But we go in, we're going to restock. We want everything that we've lost, so Molotovs and throwing knives. Throwing knives we can use in the Shadows fight, and the Molotovs we're going to need potentially for ROM later on. Then we're going to pop the umbilical cord and Madman's Knowledge. Pretty much everything that gives us insight. Which then we're going to use to buy 10 Bloodstone Shards. And use the rest of the insight to buy plunges. We're then going to go to +6. And then equip blood gems. This will be the exact same setup. We've collected the same stuff at this point, so you'll just have the same setup as I do here. And then we're going to sell our armor sets, or we're going to sell the doll set. We don't actually need to sell anything else, as that gives us more than enough souls. So we sell that, and then we go up to the doll and equip or level up 25 strength and 22 skill. And that's going to do us for this fight, and it's also going to do us for the Ron fight as well. And then I don't think we level up again until just before One Reborn. But now Shadows, or at least the route to Shadows, which we'll go through first. But Shadows, it's tricky because it's a very long fight, or it's a very patient-filled fight. You're gonna be running around a lot and just doing one hits now and again. But I'll go through it. I need to wait for the actual boss fight to appear. It's just in this run, the Shadows are pretty much the sort of the linchpin of the run, the barrier of the run. A lot of the bosses in this run are quite simple or systematic. Shadows is the trickiest thing that can win or lose the run. But anyway, to get there, we follow this route down. Don't think we have to deal with pretty much many things. Most things we're just running away from. Follow the path down. This guy will do a transformation, so we don't have to worry about him. And then when we're between this lantern and this next turn, you want to make sure you get full stamina. I don't know if I make a B of it. No, that must have been a previous run. Make sure you got full stamina and then just sprint. You need to be sprinting this whole way, as this guy on the right can do a spit attack, which can get you if you run out of stamina. So make sure you got full stamina to do that sprint past. Then we're going to run past to the left of this tree, left of this lantern, through. Again, make sure you're running because there's a mob on the left and right which can attack us if we're not running. Then we drop down. Then we're going to run to the right, this pig. Don't have to deal with him, although you can kill him. You can backstab him in order to get some blood vials, but not necessary. So just run past his right hand side and down these steps to Shadows. And here we go. So just as a precursor, actually, in your quick items, you want to have only beast blood pellets and throwing knives equipped, and you want your weapon untransformed at the start, as well as you want full health, as the gems we equipped means that we get an extra damage boost when we got full health. So that's what you want leading into the fight. Then we're going to run in, and then with the untransformed attack, we're going to do a charged R2, where we can get some quick damage in and then roll away. And then so the fight begins. So 3 Shadows, 1 Katana guy, 1 Candle guy, and 1 Pyromancer. We're going to be dealing with the top. We're going to be dealing with the Katana guy and the Pyromancer. And what we want to do is we're going to be chipping down their health until they're both around this white mark on their health bars. Because anything past that, anything around the middle, is going to make them transform into their second phase, which we want to do at a particular time. We need to do this quite precisely because we need to kill the Katana guy before he goes into second phase, as he's one of the most dangerous, dealing with 3 of them with all their transformed aspects. So we're going to be chipping away their health during first phase until they're both around there, and then we'll go into how to deal with them afterwards. But what we're going to be doing is going to be running around in a circle, and the Katana guy can do a couple of things. He can do this running attack, which actually is really good. You want to be just outpace it and then turn around and do a strike. I don't go in for it because this guy's doing Pyromancy. But in order to avoid this guy's fireballs, I prefer to just walk past them. Keep the angle on him to make sure you're like running perpendicular to them, to the fireballs, as you'll just run past them. But also you can sprint as well. I don't recommend rolling unless there's the Katana guys jumping at you or anything like that. But it's just walking just will do you fine. So, or sprinting, as you see here. So as you saw there, you can get a few hits in, but just make sure you do it in a safe place. So this guy does a run attack here, I think. It does run attack. So, I've gone too far back anyway. But so the Katana guy has the most amount of health, so he'll take the most amount of hits to get to the Pyromancer guy. So yeah, he was quite stagnant there. He wasn't doing an attack. And the Sword Cleaver has quite a quick attack, so if he's like that, you can get a quick hit in. Just be careful. There is a couple occasions where that can be quite dangerous, which we'll see a couple of examples of. So yeah, here we go. Here's a run attack, and I noticed that the Candle guy is quite far away. The Pyromancer guy is not doing much, so we can get a few hits in here and then a roll away. Make sure to not expend all your stamina, as that's dodgy. But yeah, just run, roll, make sure you don't outpace them. The thing you got to be careful of in this fight is because we're circling around so much, sprinting, that it's very easy to do a jump, which in Bloodborne, for some reason, it's 2 circle presses. And when you do a jump, you've got pretty much next to no iframes compared to the roll. So that's why you want to be careful when you're doing that. Just make sure you stop and then roll, or make sure you're focused on sprinting. Don't try to combine the two. You'll do a jump and you'll probably get caused by an attack or a fireball. When he's firing, don't try and get any damage off unless you're able to get in on him. Then, like, if these two are stuck over here and he's firing, you can run past and hit him to interrupt him, but don't try to attack the katana guy whilst he's firing fireballs. You'll just get hit, or at least it's just too much of a risk. Get a quick hit in. Like, say, our Soul Cleaver attacks really quickly, so we can get a quick hit in there. He seems to be moving quite slowly, so I just walk in, quick hit, and then walk away. So I go in for that because I know he's stuck up here, so I'm trying to separate them, so I'm going for this guy. So I knew they were up here, so we're going for a quick hit and then roll away. Just about distance more so than anything when trying to get a hit off on the Pyromancer. I'll go into that actually. He just did an attack which I want to talk about. I don't know if I went too far back. I might have done. Yeah, I did. But yeah, walking, running, or rolling, don't mix the two. I'm sure I'll do it again. I think we're going past it again. Anyway. So yeah, running attack is a really good one. It's going for a hit on because he has to finish his animation. So after he's done the attack, you can go in and get a couple of hits or one hit. Going in for one hit's always a safe thing. I just have been going in for multiple hits as I got more comfy in the fight, which will happen to you as you practice it more. So yeah. I recommend, like, this one's a really good for claw gripping, if you're familiar with that. This is a really good one as you're able to control the camera a lot better. Be careful of that jump attack. He doesn't do it often, but it can be quite scary, so if you see it, just roll away, run away. Again, because of the animation finish, you can go in for a quick hit, but it is quite a scary attack, so make sure you're aware of it. Again, I knew there was distance and the gravestone was in the way, so we went in for a quick hit on him. Animation finish, we can go in a quick hit on that. Run, outpace. So when I say like perpendicular to the fireballs, so quick hit. So with claw grip, I'm controlling the camera at the same time I'm running, so I want to keep the camera angled on him, and then pretty much running. So these are coming like there, and we're moving that way, as that is like the perfect angle to run around them. And that's why you want to keep the camera on him, as it helps with the angle that you're running at, in avoiding the fireballs, as they'll sort of go around you. But yeah, it's just a patience fight, this one. We're going to be walking around for a long time, so he was taking his time, so we went in for a quick hit. You can aggro this guy, so I've not talked about the candle guy too much, as he's sort of more important in second or third phase. But you can walk towards him for him to do a flame spray, which then, whilst he's doing that animation, you get some quick hits on the katana guy or the pyromancer. But just be careful, because he does have a katana and he does use it, so he can attack. He doesn't necessarily have to do the flame spray, but he will do often. But we'll go into more into him in second and third phase. So a case like that. Oh, there it is. What we're on 42:19. So we walk through. Dodge you. No, that's the run attack. Here we go. So this attack is delayed. So you saw him there. He's gripping it, and then he takes a sec, and then he hits. Be careful. So you've seen where he's been quite stagnant. I've just gone in for a hit. If he does this, you want to roll away, or just be aware that this can happen, because when he does this, his hitbox, like the hitbox that you're striking in order to do damage on him, I feel it moves away. It moves away from you. So, and because the Sword Cleaver is quite low range-ish, that you can miss him or whiff him quite easily, and because of the delay, you'll whiff him and you won't have time to roll away before he hits you. So just be careful of that delayed attack. It's caught me more than a few times. Run attack, get a quick hit in, and then roll. Always keeping the Pyromancer guy in mind. Use the sound cues, listen to him. I don't have audio on for this one, but it's one of your best tools when you're playing the fight, listening to when he's firing them and how close they are to you. Quick hit on him. Again. And I personally find going in this clockwise manner much easier than counterclockwise. Sometimes if there's awkwardness around the gravestone, you have to run counterclockwise, but try to reset it, position them so you can start running clockwise again. I personally find it just much easier. So we can go in for a hit. Oh, well, we can actually. But the reason I said that is because the gravestone was in the way, so that was a good one. But I think I must have heard the Pyromancer building up for a fireball, so that's why I left it. Quick hits on him. So at this point, we're quite close. This guy's quite about maybe 1.5, 2 hits on. And the bottom guy, so he's 1 hit on, so now I'll leave him. And we'll start focusing on the Pyromancer. So there can be places where this health is in an awkward spot, and that's why we have the throwing knives. So if he has slightly more health, where I thought that 1 more Sword Cleaver would put him into phase 2, but I need a bit more health off him to finish him off during the phase transition, then I would throw some throwing knives at him to lower his health. But at this point, we're just going to look for opportunities in order to get the Pyromancer down. So I know they're going around the gravestone, so... Oh, I didn't go for him. Interesting. I guess because he was firing the fireballs. So he's behind the gravestones to do a quick hit. I don't know if I'd go for that. I guess I'll find out, but because we do so much damage to the Pyromancer guy, so yeah, don't go for it. So, phase transition. So I've found that to be fine. You don't actually need to get him down to this low, the Pyromancer guy, because we'll be focused on him for second phase. The main important thing is having the Katana guy to this point. But what we're going to be doing now is we need distance, as we want to be sort of out of the range of the Pyromancer. So we run all the way up here. We're going to pop a Beast Blood Pellet, and then we're going to throw some throwing knives in order to initiate second phase. They will dodge to the side, so be careful of that. That was a bit dodgy. And then we're going to be finishing off this Katana guy. You need to finish this guy off. You can save it by throwing knives in second phase, but so we're going to do R1, L1, R1, L1, and then we're sort of going to make sure we're safe, as the Pyromancer will transform quicker than the Candle guy, because the Candle guy is buffing his sword, so he takes an extra second, but the Pyromancer is pretty much ready straight away. And then what we're going to be doing is we need to get rid of the Pyromancer, and then we'll be focusing on the Candle guy. And the way we're going to do this is watch out for the noodle arm there. That can be quite scary. But what the Pyromancer can do now is, so what we're going to be so hang on, there's so many things going on. What we want to do is aggro the Candle guy, so he's doing his flame spray. He's stuck in this animation for a brief moment, so that's when we get some hits in on the Pyromancer. Oh, we didn't do that attack, annoying. But what the Pyromancer can do in second phase, he can do that spray, that 3 fireballs that we've seen in first phase and second phase. But what he can also do in second phase is some overhead fireballs that have an AoE on the floor. If that happens, you can run away, but what you can also do is run towards him so that the fireballs explode behind you on the ground, because the hitbox that strikes behind is a lot smaller than the hitbox that attacks in front. So if he's here and he does the overhead fireballs that hits in front of us, that's almost certainly going to hit us. If we roll or run in behind it and it explodes here and we're here, it's quite unlikely to hit us. So that's one thing to just to know. So if you're quite close to, if you're in a dodgy spot, if you're in the corner, running towards him so those overheads go above you, that is the safer option with him during second phase. And then third phase, if you're in this position, the fight's pretty much over, because now we can get him into this loop where we do one strike, he jumps to the right, and then we just do this. The one thing to be cautious of is, or the two things to be cautious of is, first of all, initiating this. Don't just rush in, as he can do like a jump back slash, or he can attack, or he can do a whole host of things. But once you've hit him the first time and he's in this loop, he'll pretty much stay in it. But the second thing to worry about is if you miss or whiff, then again he can do a jump back slash, or just regular attacks. So make sure you're close enough, you're walking towards him and doing a strike each time. And the second thing to keep in mind is if you're near gravestones, he can actually like land on you kind of thing, because he can jump up onto here and then drop down, and that can actually drop into you. There's not too much I can advise in how to avoid it other than just be aware of it and try to circle around to his left hand side more, so he's going to be dropping over to his right. But it's a very rare occurrence, just making you aware of it though. But yeah, you're stuck in that loop, so after so many hits of him, of doing one strikes and him circling, you'll be fine. But that's Shadows of Yharnam. A tricky fight, a patient fight. There is other means you can... Some people do a parry strategy where you can be at a certain level of damage and you parry the katana guy and do visceral attacks, because that gives you iframes. I tried it. I'm not personally a huge fan of it, as I feel like the iframes can run out at dodgy moments, which you can't really control, but I do recommend looking into it, as some people do find it consistent as well. Same with the Bloodstaff Beast. I just personally find this method more consistent for myself. So, running through onto Rom, there is a mob here on the right hand side, so what you need to be very stamina aware here. We want to be running past to make sure this guy's jump attack avoids us, but then we need full stamina enough to do 5 strikes. So we run past out the way of the attacks, then we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 R1s to finish. We need to kill that mob, or else he'll chase us down and strike us as we're dealing with these next couple of mobs. So we drop down, transform our weapon, and then we want to sort out our items. This is probably the safest spot, so we need fire paper, pellets, Molotovs, and blue elixirs. We don't need the knives. Drop down here, shoot this guy, this aggroes them, and then we're just going to do a charged R2, angling the camera down, a bit like the crows from earlier, in order to get rid of these. Again, for the same reason we called the other one, that if we leave them, they will chase us and be a risk. So that's those two dealt with, and then there's only one more mob that we really have to deal with, which we shouldn't have to, but I may have made a bit of it in this run. I can't remember, it might have been the previous one, but I'll talk about it anyway, even if it doesn't happen. Sprint past here, there's some mobs that'll throw projectiles, but if you're sprinting, you don't have to deal with that. Run into it and use a blue elixir, because there is an NPC, or a hostile NPC in here, that will wreck you. It's a very difficult NPC and has a homing magic attack or arcane attack in this game. Yeah, just blue elixir. You don't want to deal with this guy. So we go up to get the key in order to access the ROM fight. We've had some items and we're still at full health, although we'll need to heal as we drop down here, and then we can go straight into the fight. So if I can't remember, let's see if he aggroes. No, it must have been a previous attempt. But if he does aggro and he's chasing us, then ignore all what I'm doing here. You don't need to kill this guy, only kill him for extra souls, and don't talk to him. You can do that for extra insight, but just run off the edge. You don't want to be dealing with the NPC chasing you, and the souls don't really matter that much. So, ROM fights. We run in, we aggro ROM with shooting our gun, or you can throw a pebble, or throw a knife, or throw a Molotov. Or I wouldn't really waste a Molotov, actually. I wouldn't go near a Molotov at all, because that messes up damage. Just shoot him. It's the easiest way and doesn't mess anything up. And we shoot him so that it triggers these spiders, and we're out of range of them as well. The spiders, we want to run around to the side and then do 2 strikes to finish. You want to be careful, as these spiders can be very tricky, as they have an attack from their front and they have an attack from their behind, as they can spit web out, and they can do this spit attack, and then they can also attack with their legs as well, and do this jump attack, which has surprisingly quite big range. Yeah, and then we do 2 strikes to kill. So You can only attack if you attack from the side. That causes the damage. Like I say, don't attack from behind, as it can attack from behind. Just attack them from the side. So you want to be careful. Yep. As soon as one is facing or is one with its back turned, when you're approaching this, you want to just run away. They look out for each other. You want to avoid that. So like you just saw there, he turned around and attacked as we approached his side. So avoid that. There's no rush. It's hitless. It's not a speed run. So you can just take your time with it and wait until they're alone, and you'll slowly pick them down. So yeah, this one's free. So yeah, this guy walking around. He's not near, so we can go in for him. Oh, I wonder why I didn't go for that. But yeah, go to the side. This one's fine because the other spider's away. But yeah, don't attack them when you're in front. Don't attack when you're behind. And don't attack. I don't know if we'll see it in this fight, but they've got a flurry attack. And when they're doing the flurry, their entire body you can get hit from. I don't know if it widens the hitbox, but it's just very dodgy, and you just want to avoid. When they do this, when the head's stuck in the ground, angle the camera down and strike downwards. You do more damage. I don't know why, but angle the camera down and do a strike, and that will finish him. Finish them in one hit as compared to two we have to do whilst just standing. So yeah, this one. When he's doing this flurry walking forward, don't go near him. For some reason, like the entire body is like a hitbox, so just don't go near, wait for him to finish, and then finish. And then we just got 2 remaining, so take our time, make sure they're not looking at each other, not back to back. Wait till they're both side on, like here. So we finish. And then that's the spider's done. So, setup for ROM. We want to be getting rid of our saw cleaver and then popping a pellet. One thing I should note actually is I don't do this 100% safe, I guess. You can, if you want to be extra safe, you want to go around the arena to the left or behind and check where the invisible wall is, as it when you want to start this fight or just go into the attacks, if you get caught up by the wall or he backs up into the wall, gets stuck, then you can end up getting pushed away or striking the head. And when you strike the head on ROM, it does next to no damage. You need to be striking the body. So if you wanted to be extra safe, you would go to the wall, invisible walls, and make sure that ROM is not anywhere near the walls as you set this up. But I don't. I've not found it too common where that's been a problem. I just circle to the left, and if I hit a wall, then I spin him round. I keep going to the left and spinning him round to make sure he's not near the invisible wall, which I found consistent. I never really had an issue with it, but that is a way to make sure it's 100% certain. I just don't do it because it can take quite a while. And then we're going to just do R2s until we've completely filled our beast blood pellet meter. Striking the head because it does next to no damage, and we want to make sure we don't trigger any sort of phase transitions or make sure that our damage that we're going to do is consistent. So that's full. So now we're going to equip the saw cleaver again and fire paper, and then what we're going to do is we go over to the side of his body, fire paper. And then we're going to dash forward and then do L1, L1. Dash forward, L1, L1. That's going to, like, activate him, I guess. So now he'll do stuff. Other than beforehand, he's just been standing here. But now he can teleport. Now he can move away. He won't attack us in this phase, but he can move away or teleport. But anyway, we do the L1, L1. And then we're going to be trying to do 3 R1s. And then we're going to do a charged R2, which you make sure you hit the body. If you hit the head, it's not going to stagger him. You need to hit the body. So 3 R1s, charge R2. Let your stamina regen. I try to get it to around here and then try to do 4 R1s. 4 R1s will finish him. I don't think I got it off. Although I did get it off. I must have just missed the timing of the one. But 4 R1s, and then if you have the Molotovs equipped, you can run up and then just throw a Molotov in the corner. Once he's transformed, he then does his magic attack, so different crystals or projectiles will fall from the sky. you just have to run around to outpace them. Just make sure to be wary of his stamina. So I'm making sure it doesn't do a magic attack and then throw a Molotov. So yeah, here we're just running around to the right. This is why we restock up in the Nightmare before Shadows, as we want 10 Molotovs, so we've got plenty of chances to finish him off. If you make a B of the 3 R1s and an R2 to stagger, and he has a ton of health, so in this case he had only a small amount, so we could deal with him. Even if he had slightly more, then we could deal with the Molotovs that we have. If you make a B of it and you don't stagger him and he has about this much health, then mark out you're going to have to deal with spiders. He's going to be doing magic attacks in second phase. You don't be dealing with it. You're going to have to go and get more fire paper. There is a place in just before Bloodstar Beast, which I actually just remembered I forgot to mention. I'll go back and point an arrow, or maybe put in a little clip here, pointing at where you can get some more, where the wolf appeared from. But you can get some more fire paper there, insert clip now, and then you can get some more fire paper here and get a couple more goes at Ron with this, because you need that setup. And then you want to set up your items now. I like setting up my items now, as some of these next running sections are quite precise. So we set up just as we did before. So we want blue elixirs, beast blood pellets set up, and Molotovs and punches and all that. Once that's ready, we want blue elixirs on the hotbar, as that's the first thing I'm going to need. And then go up to this woman, as that will initiate the teleport into the next section. So now we're on our way to One Reborn. Again, this is going to be a bit like the Shadows split, where we're going to be grabbing a few items around Yharnam before going to the One Reborn split. So here we go. We're going down. Mobs going to spawn on the left and right. We don't have to deal with them. We're going to drop down past the stairs and grab an item. And then we're going to be dealing with a mob. So drop down, grab this. Keep running as the mob's chasing you, so you do need to make sure you're quick. 3 hits will kill this guy, and then just run past. You need to kill him or else he'll chase us. Light this lantern, light this lamp, and then run down. Make sure you have full stamina around here, and then we're going to be running down. Run down this left-hand side. Be careful, as there's a gunman here who will shoot, so we need to either strafe or roll. So I strafe, run past. There's another gunman here who will shoot. We want that going into the pillar. Be careful. I think I did this slightly wrong, as the gunman behind got chance enough to shoot again, as did there. So that was luck there. I can't really say anything other than that. But you want to be running past, as the second gunman on the right there will have shot into the pillar. I just slowed down for no reason. You want to be running straight through after you've strafed that first gunman, and just run straight out here. Don't slow down as I did. Drop down here, blue elixir, grab item, turn the camera around, as there is a small chance of a mob dropping down on here, which you'll need to kill immediately or run around. I probably recommend killing, as I've tried running around before, and although you can do it, you can also get caught up, so you've had no chance. It's safe to kill. Grab bolt paper, drop down when it's safe. And then we're running through, grabbing a chunk here, I think, as we'll be doing a bit more upgrading and leveling up just before One Reborn. So yeah, chunk. Then running through, run down this right hand side, left, and past this woman. So does it follow us today? It does not. Okay, so this mob has a chance to follow us. So if it doesn't get caught up in that laser explosion, if you run down this side, you won't get caught up in the laser explosion. This mob sometimes does, in which case it's super easy. You just run down here and continue on your way. If it chases us, if you have time, if it's not chased you immediately, then the easiest thing to do would be to use this, grab this lantern, and then run away from it, and then mark out as you're marked back here, and then you can carry on your way. If not, then you just gonna run away. And then just run past it and try and get back to the lantern again. You're going to have to sort of play a running game with it. You can kill it, or you can attempt to kill it, but I find just trying to keep your distance until you've got a safe moment to run from down here to back to the lantern, and then do the mark out or go back to the dream. is the safer policy. Then we're going to go in, we need to kill this lizard. So that's one of the reasons why we may need to mark out as don't deal with this lizard if the mob's chasing us, just run around, mark out. The lizard will probably have disappeared, so you'll need to go back to the dream and come back, but you do need this lizard, so that's why you may have to go through that whole rigmarole. But yeah, grab the chunk, and then come up here. We need the punchy cocktails equipped. There is a mob directly below us, so we're going to do a plunging attack after we lock on. Then a couple of strikes will finish him. Throw a punji for the dogs after collecting that cold blood. Then we drop down. We are going to kill this this mob because it causes these 3 mobs to go through a sort of transformation or stagger, more of a stagger, which then gives us plenty of time to run past and go through. Make sure you have blue elixir equipped, as we're going to use that just before we exit the stairs, and then run along the right hand side, hugging the wall, as there's a few hostile NPCs in the middle that will chase us if we aggro them. So make sure you're hugging that right wall to make sure those don't aggro. Run through, and then we're going to grab a few more upgrade materials. Pardon me. Grab bolt paper and chunk. And then we're grabbing one more chunk, and then on our way. Hugging this wheel makes him jump out, so make sure to do that, not in front or else you'll get hit. Grab more chunks, and then that's pretty much it. Now we can head on our way. Run through here, there's a gunman at the side, so you want to stay down here and then run and then kill. So 3 hits will do it, and then roll away as this mob down here that we just aggroed can hit us from up here, so make sure to roll away as quick as possible. Run past here, there's a mob on the right, but we can just run past him on the left, and then open the elevator. I do apologise for the coughing, a bit of a dry throat at the moment. So head up, kill these mob, takes a few hits. Mob on the side, he's just going to fire a bullet, so we can just strafe around and then finish. You can grab this, you don't strictly need it, it's just you can sell it for souls later on. Then up here for one last chunk, I think. Yep. So that'll be upgrades done, and then we're going to drop down and go grab quite a powerful gem to upgrade our weapon. Then we're going to upgrade our weapon and then go to the One Reborn. Have punjies equipped here, as we're going to need to throw a couple. One thing to be aware of here, it's really, I don't know why it happens, but when you throw this punji, if you don't hear the sound of the bottle breaking, it can mean that it's not gone off properly. So these dogs that we're throwing for them, that we're throwing to attract, may not aggro to it properly. So you may want to throw a second if you don't hear the impact, don't hear the bottle breaking. I don't know why it happens here, it just does. But if that happens, throw another one just for safety. So which I do here. And then we just run past and into here. We have plenty of punchy cocktails, so it's not a waste. And you can always grab some more as we have plenty of insight. So we teleport near, we go down on the left. Walk slowly as there is I don't really know how to describe it. It's a wolf of made up of various parts. But we just go walking to make sure that that's activates again, like the mobs in the Forbidden Woods, where he just goes on his journeys. And then I'm going to run through here. There is a gunman down here on the left, so we want this guy to shoot. And then we're going to run through and then kill. Sometimes he doesn't shoot, in which case, like if you're there for a while and he hasn't shot yet, then just run down to him. He's just not going to do it, and kill him anyway. Then we run down the steps, throw punji into this doorway, run around, throw punji behind us, and then grab this and then mark out. We do that because there is another quotations wolf in that place, which we need to punji to make sure we can grab that safely. The 2 punjis are necessary, as he can get you as you're trying to mark out. So punji at the doorway, so he moves out of the way, run to the item, throw punji, collect the item, and then mark out. And now we are going to go back to the dream. Like I say, you don't need this lantern, you don't need this lamp unless the NPC's chasing. I just grabbed it just in case. Yeah. And now we're going to go up and upgrade our weapon to +8, I think, and then change our weapons. I also grabbed some stuff out of storage just in case as well. So yeah, go up, fortify weapon, +8, and then put all our fancy new gems on, which do a lot more damage. Yep, so that's all done, dusted. Do we level up here? I can't even remember. I must have been distracted. But yeah, what am I doing? What am I doing? You don't. Oh yeah. Sorry, I just completely forgot the route. This was a couple of weeks ago now. Yeah, buy those punchy cocktails because you do need them for the next running section after the One Reborn. That is actually really necessary, so make sure you get those. If you short on them, it can be a very dangerous thing. So yeah, make sure you get them. We don't level up here. We level up for Micolash. But yeah, you do need 10 punchy cocktails, so use your insight for those. How quickly the route goes sometimes. But yeah, now we're going to go straight to the One Reborn, nothing else. So we're going to be dropping down here, going through, we're going to kill these 2 mobs again. The gunman, again, we just need to strafe round, but although we don't even let him getting the sack off, we just run around to his left. A couple of hits will do it. And then this mob over here, we're going to run around his left-hand side, a bit like, or dodge around his left-hand side, a bit like Bloodstarved Beast. Him dealt with, use the lift, and then we're going to go to the One Reborn. Make sure you use the switch. I've run off the edge here and just dropped down because I thought the lift was up, but because we go and get that gem, the lift's not going to be up, so we're going to have to use the switch every time. So be aware of that. Roll off, again, plunge into the wall. Again, make sure that you hear the break. And then on our way through the portal again, this time running forward. Yep, here we go. So there is a mob that spawns another mob here. I don't deal with them at all. There is a tiny possibility of the mob following us down here and chasing us. I've never had it happen to me, but I have seen it happen before, so just be aware of that. So sometimes some people kill those 2 mobs. I personally just run past. I've never been hit by it, but it can happen. Have bolt paper and beast blood pelts equipped. That's all you need. Make sure your health is at full to have the full damage buff again. And then angle yourself starting here, running to that back right area. Pardon me. Back right area. Then we're just going to be sprinting right at it. Sprinting, don't deal with him. You don't want to deal with him at all. Just run. So sprint up the steps. He'll probably do a spit around here. What we're going to do is we're going to run through, position yourself behind one of the pillars, wait for a spit. Spit's happened. Then we're going to do 2 strikes to kill. Go back behind one of the pillars to make sure that spit's gone through. 2 hits. Keep an eye over here as another spit can happen. So that's why I roll back behind here to happen. Another thing that can happen in his opening, instead of doing a second spit here, he can actually raise up and try to attack you himself, in which case you just want to run up the steps as well. I just went up straight away. I don't actually know why I did that. That was a bit weird. Yeah, so I went back up here to go behind here, but what I should have done was just stayed here and got the spit into there. I got pretty lucky here. I don't actually know why I did that, as I think it went into that right pillar here. But yeah. So when that happens... So here, it will do a spit. We go up here, wait for a spit here. 2 strikes, get behind the pillar. Wait for a spit here, don't do what I did. But if he raises up, that's when we want to run and roll up. 2 strike. Roll behind this pillar, keeping an eye on what he's doing. And then run. And then just, now it's pretty much free. That's the risky part. That's the only risky part of this fight. That initial opening, that initial witch that we have to kill. So run down to strike each of them. Make sure you hit them, as if you take too long, the One Reborn can chase us down and can spit at us. So make sure you strike them in good time. Then run down. We're going to Bolt Paper. We're going to Beast Blood Pellet. After he's done his AoE, we're then just going to run right at him, and then just do R1, L1, R1. Or I did R1, R1, L1. Doesn't really make much of a difference. And then he's in a stun lock. We just do 3 attacks on his various limbs. Not these small ones, these big ones. And he's just stuck in a perpetual stun lock loop because of the damage that just continuously staggers him. But yeah. This head's fine to hit, as that stagger him. Don't hit his other head up here, as that can have some weird effects. So just limbs and that back head to stagger him, and you'll be fine. Just R1, R1, L1, L1. 4 hits on each limb, and you'll be good. And then that's One Reborn. Like I say, he's free after you've got rid of the witches, as that will stagger him every time. That initial attacks to his body. It's just that very first witch with those spits that you have to be careful of, making sure you're behind the pillars when that's happening, or roll in if he raises up to attack you himself, I should say. Now we go into the Nightmare. This is where we need the extra punji cocktails. That's why we bought them in the insight pool. Well, lecture building first, not this particular section, the next bit, as we just run past these guys and out the lecture building. Yeah, these guys never hit me. If you just run, then yeah, just run past them. Don't need anything in here. We're pretty much set up to finish the game now. We'll be leveling up for Micolash and for Wet Nurse, but other than that, we won't really be grabbing much else apart from just upgrade materials, which I think we actually have. Oh no, just a couple of extra things and then some levels. Or some blood records, I should say. So Nightmare Mensis, final area-ish. So going through, want to untransform our weapon. I mean, transform our weapon, I should say, into its extended form, as that gives this backstab a lot more. Its R2 is just better for getting backstabs in because it's a horizontal slash. So we get behind, walk behind, and then just do a charged R2. It does a horizontal swing, and is much more likely to strike him in the back. If we do it in the untransformed, in the normal states, then it's an overhead. It's a lot more likely to miss him. So just doing that sweep attack with the transformed one, it's just more likely. I'm not actually sure if we need to kill this. I'll say I'm almost certain we don't need to kill this. I just do it because it was part of my old route. Grab this cold blood. That is good to get because it's just 3 echoes. Then run through here, and then we're going to be throwing a punji here to aggro this mob here. Then we're going to be throwing a punji here to aggro this mob. Running past, and then we're going to be throwing one more punji to aggro this mob in the back. So that's them dealt with, so now we can just run past. So run past, hugging the right hand side. These boulder guys will, or these golem guys will throw boulders, but we just run past them all, straight to the doors. Keep an eye behind just in case sometimes, as they might follow you, but you can just roll. Walk in, ignore the spiders on the ceiling. Down the right hand side, go in, grab some cold blood, and then I'm going to go straight to Micolash-ish. Drop down, roll out the way, and then just sprint out of here. This NPC, you want to run around his right hand side and then strafe to the left immediately. So run on his left hand side, around his right, and then left. As you saw, that strike he did, it was like up that right hand side. So that's why you need that strafe to the left after you've run past his or your right side. Run past this mob. Running through, following this to go get some blue elixirs, which we need. We need both of them, yeah. Because we use one here and then we use one just for Mergo. So collect those blue elixirs and then use one immediately. Drop down, follow this route. Be careful running around this side. There is a few holes that are quite dangerous on this left-hand side, which are very easy to fall into as it's very dark. So yeah, there's one there that I almost ran into, even though I've run this. Just be careful of that. This NPC shoots projectiles, and I never quite got the hang of finding out why he aggroes sometimes. But so what I've just been prone to do is get into this elevator and then roll against this side of the cage in order to iframe if he does shoot us. So just be aware of that. We go into here, and I think I spam punjies a bit too much here, but I throw a punji there to aggro those crows. Go up to the top, and then we want this gem that's in this cage, which I'm a bit confused at this point because I threw in a punji, but he's decided, God, that was an amazing throw. I'm just checking that there's nothing followers chasing us right now. But yeah, I've made a complete bee of that. So instead of the punji, because normally when you throw a punji down there, this guy will aggro and he'll drop down and go towards the punji. This time he just can't be bothered with it. So instead we just kill him. Killing him might be the safer way. I've just every other time I've thrown a punji and he's been fine. I throw an extra one just for the crows at the bottom, just to make sure they're not on the stairs. And with that little drop off, it's actually, I guess, not trickier than it looks, but you need a run. So that's, you see me circle there, you need to be running. It can't just be a hold circle here. You need to do a run round or back up a bit and then run. Because otherwise you're just going to step off and there is a gap between the stairs and that cage and you'll drop and you'll die. So yeah, you need to run onto that platform to get on it consistently. Not tricky, just make sure you run. And then we grab that, so that's another overpowered gem, which we're going to do to upgrade our weapon for the last time. So drop down here, lantern, and back to the dream. This is where we're going to pretty much sell everything. We're not going to go to the dream again. We're not going to level up again. We're not going to upgrade our weapon again before wet nurse. This will be our final thing. So pretty much we're going to be selling everything that we have to put into levels and in order to fortify and upgrade our weapon. So up we go. You don't need this. I don't actually know why I grabbed these. I think just I was nervous at the time, just making sure I had everything. But yeah, fortify. Make sure you have the strongest combination. And then we're going to go in and just sell everything that we have, everything that we've acquired. So yeah, pop all these cold bloods as well. Don't sell them. I think I was about to as well. But yeah, just pop all these. Want as many echoes as possible. But yeah, I think probably. Yeah, and then now we're just selling all the items that we have. So we don't need pretty much anything apart from the weapons. So the Madara's whistle, the armor sets, the hunter's bone that we got near the doll set earlier. Just sell all that, and then channel echoes into 25 skill, and then just pump the rest into strength. Normally you end up with like 40, 25 around that. Sometimes you'll get 41, but 39 to 41 is the normal setup you'll get during this. And that's everything in the dream. Now it's just 2 bosses remaining. Yeah, you definitely don't need any punjies or mortals at this point. Yeah, I think I was just nervous and making sure I grabbed things out of storage just in case, but you don't actually need any of that. Yeah. Have poison knives equipped. Get rid of molotovs. You don't need punjies. You want bolt paper. You want blood star pellets or beast blood pellets. I don't think I've said that correctly once during this video. Poison knives, and you can have blue elixirs because we'll need those after the fight, but we don't need them for this fight in particular. These skeletons that spawn, there is a really easy way to deal with them, which is R1, L1, R2. R1, L1, R2. So you do 1 strike, and then the other 2 strikes are horizontal sweeps. So R1, L1, that got him as he was dodging, so we got counter damage. but it's just a wide-reaching, wide-scoping attack. So R1, L1, R1. See that that hit on the very left side of us. It's just a really consistent way to kill them, and even though they'll dodge around our sides, you'll almost certainly kill them because of how wide that sweep is. So yeah, R1, L1, R1, R2, sorry. Then we walk out here in order to aggro him, and then we run away, and now we're going to pop our Beast Blood Pellet and a Bolt Paper. So he can be weird. Micolash can be weird. What you want to do is have him against the wall and then just spam attacks on him. The only thing he can do in this phase is do his tentacle move, which isn't there, which is weird. But this tentacle move, you can literally just strafe walk to the left. It has a very long, like wide-reaching hitbox, but it's only in one line, so you can just literally strafe to the side. Don't attack him unless he's against the wall, or you've got him against the wall, because he can jump backwards and then do the attack, in which case if you're in an attack combo, he can do the attack and you'll get hit. So make sure he's against the wall, don't attack him whilst he's got space behind him. Then you can spam attack, so I just walk to the left. So at this point, I finish it off, but what you can do, which is actually more efficient, but does bring in, I guess, a little bit risk of that he can hit you again, so it's not necessary, but it is a good way to speed up second phase, is you can throw poison knives at him now to poison him, which will continue as we go into second phase. So at this point, you'd be taking poison damage, but you don't strictly necessarily, like, you don't need it. I've just not done it this time because I guess I couldn't be bothered. So we go up the steps. There is going to be two mobs here. This one we want to aggro to do a jumping attack, so we let it follow until it does a jumping attack, and then we run around after its attack's done. And then just before this mob's an archer or has a crossbow. This time it didn't attack, so it either does this, where it's just like, sod it, I can't bother, Micolash isn't paying me enough and all that, and doesn't decide to shoot us. But in most cases, 80% of times, he will try to shoot us, in which case we need to be running into this corner, like holding circle, running into this, and the arrow will go into this pillar, at which point we would then run past it. In this case, like I say, it's not attacking, so we can just run past it anyway. But if it does shoot or it is aiming up, you need to run into that corner on the left. Micolash here, there's two things that can happen. The first is he runs up here, which we'll go into. The second is if he runs to the left. If he runs to the left, it's a free fight. Well, this is technically a free fight as well, but it's a bit more finicky. But if he runs to the left, he'll drop down into the mirror room, at which point you will throw poison knives and poison him until he dies. That is pretty much as simple as it is. He runs down, drops down through the floor, and stands in the middle of a room, in which case you would stay at the top here and throw poison knives, poison him, and then just wait until the poison runs out, throw poison knives again, and eventually he will die as you have more than enough poison knives to finish this fight. In this case instead, which is a bit more finicky, but it's also safe, we run through, he goes through the mirror, we don't run around the right, we drop down. There is two skeletons we have to deal with here. So again, R1, L1, R2. This is safe as he's just spawned, but this guy he has spawned now, so he's ready to attack. So in this case, I just fire to get him onto the ground and then finish. They'll do this sometimes where they'll just break down. This doesn't mean they're dead, it just means they're taking a break. So now once he's respawning, we'll finish him there. Now you want to walk, it needs to be a walk if you don't want to aggro him. So walk around this right hand side. There is a skeleton that's going to spawn behind him, which we need to deal with before dealing with Micolash. So walk around this right hand side, fire your gun to knock this guy down, and then we're going to finish again the same method. R1, L1, R2. Of course he's awkward and breaks down again, but this time we actually finish him. So thankfully he hasn't aggroed. And now this is where the free part happens. I don't really know how this works. I think it's the way he spawns into the arena, and because it's not where we're meant to fight him, he just teleports. But what we need to do here is we angle behind him, shoot him in the back. He'll spawn through the mirror, and then we just do 1 strikes until he's done. Like I say, I'm not exactly sure how this works. I just know it does work, and this is how you beat him safely. This just means we don't have to fight him head on in the other room, as that is quite dangerous. And if you do miss him, like you could buff here, like it would speed the fight up. You don't necessarily need it, but you could buff here to speed this fight up. But if he gets past you and goes into where you're actually meant to fight him, quotations, I would probably recommend marking out and just starting the fight over again. It's much safer than trying to fight him straight up. Probably a bit more respectful, but much more risky. And then that's Micolash, and now we only have 1 running section. Oh yeah, I would also say you can run up here. I always do, but the skeletons are still aware, and I didn't realise this guy was still hanging about. So just be careful of that, even though Micolash is dead. The skeletons are still, coming after you. So I wasn't aware of that with this guy in here, so just be careful of that. So you can just stay in that room you're in, or just run up here, just being aware of that skeleton being there. But now we're going to head over to Wet Nurse. So we're going to run up the stairs, run past these shadows on their left hand side, make sure you have full stamina so you can run right up the stairs, as there is a pyromancer at the top. So run up, use the audio cues as you're going to be running around to the side. I almost ran into that fireball after it passed me. A minute. And just run up the stairs. If you don't have the camera on him, just make sure to listen out to the fireballs if they're chasing you. But easiest way to deal with that is just keep your camera turned so you can see where the fireballs are. Run up the stairs, and then we're going to be using a blue elixir. Run along the right side so you don't aggro the pig on the left. Run along the left side. This pig on the left's going to notice us, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to be. It's not going to be able to react in time until we get to the Wet Nurse fight. Hugging the left side, past the shadows of Yharnam, the various shadows of Yharnam, up the stairs, and we're good. That's the last running section, and now we're on to the final fight, which is Wet Nurse. There is a route where you can go and get some more upgrade materials and get a +9 and a few other things, but I don't think it's strictly necessary for Mergo's Wet Nurse. Wet Nurse I find pretty alright. It's quite a long fight, and there is a few tricky parts to it, but it is just a really fun fight, and it's quite straightforward, I guess. Like I say, there is a couple of dodgy bits, but we'll go into those. Yeah, pot, bolt paper, beast blood pellet, and in we go. So, Wet Nurse. I think she was quite nice to me in this fight. So, this fight, raising up to right hand side. This fight, oh yeah, and before going to that, I prefer to do this fight without lock on, as you want to be rolling these attacks. I find doing the dodge forward that happens as you're locked on to be a bit more risky or dodgy. So I do this fight unlocked so I can roll these attacks. But this attack does a quick swipe upwards, so we want to roll around her right hand side. This slam. So raising all things and then slamming in front, we want to strafe to the side or run to the side, roll to the side, and then attack on its side. The way Wet Nurse works is when you're on her side, she will jump away. A bit like in the Shadows of Yharnam fight with the Pyromancer at the end. When we do that 1 strike, it will always try to jump away from us, and that's the loop we can get it in. In this case, Wet Nurse, when we're at the side, she always wants to jump to the side. Sometimes, predominantly, quite often near the end of the fight, can be weird and will attack us anyway. So as we approach the end of the fight, you may only want to go into 1 strikes, just do 1 hit and then move away. Up to that point, you can do R1, L1 for maximum damage. Again, we just roll this, R1, L1, untransform, and then come back, strafe to the left-hand side of the slam, R1, L1, she'll jump to the side, run to the side. Like I say, I think she was quite nice to me in this fight. We'll see how much she does, though. Oh, here we go. So this extension, you want to just, she just spreads it out, so you want to run backwards away from her. You can run, after she's done this attack, you can run to a side and get another attack in. I didn't, mainly because I was playing it quite safe in this fight, but during practice you can get used to it. You can run in to punish that attack as well. Pretty much almost every attack you can punish in this fight. Nightmare phase. So, when she does this raise up, that means she's going to send some black tendrils out that if they hit you without iframing, you will go into a nightmare fog arena area, which is very dodgy and is, especially in second phase, almost impossible to get out without being hit. So what we do is we wait for the tendrils. Once these tendrils appear, don't do it early. Once you see them, once they're on screen, that's when you dodge. You lock on and you dodge twice to the left or right. It doesn't matter. But lock on, dodge twice to the left or right when those tendrils appear on screen. If, just do that. Just, do that every time. You'll never go into the nightmare phase. If it does happen, during practice, there is no 100% consistent way. The safest way I found is just run in a circle around the arena. Just run in a circle. If she appears in front of you, teleports in front of you, roll her attack. But other than that, just keep running in circles and pray. But if you just dodge as I showed there, then you'll never deal with it. This attack is a 3 combo. You want to approach her so she carries it on. Sometimes she'll just do the 1 swipe, and if you're far enough away, she won't carry it on. You want her to do all 3 attacks. So I'm walking forward to bait them attacks, and then walk around and strike to the side. So she does the 3 attacks. She does the 1 attack. We then walk forward to bait the attack, walk away, bait the 3rd, and then run to punish. During second phase, that 3 attack, she will do much quicker, so just be careful of that. Buffs are run out, so we'll just try and bait out another attack. So walk away, and then we'll buff. So there you go, she just did the 1 attack then because we didn't aggro the 2nd and 3rd attacks there. This teleport, some people stand in the middle and spin the camera. I personally prefer to go to the edge of the arena, spin the camera, so I can see the entire arena. There is pros and cons to both. I personally find this more consistent, but if you're in the center of the arena spinning the camera, she can do an instant jump attack, which can hit you. If you're at the side of the arena, she can do a lawnmower attack when she does a flurry around her. But I feel that happens much less often. That weird English. That happens a lot less often than standing in the middle and spinning the camera and she jumps at you. So when she disappears, run to the side, spin the camera around and see where she appears, running up towards her. Does attack, so attack to the side, she'll jump to the side. Does it again. I think she does this a few. Like I say, I think she was quite nasty in this fight. Does things, so I run to the side, punish. This is where I start going with for 1 strikes, because this is the second half of the fight, so this is where she can be a bit dodgy. Oh, damn. Very nice. There's a couple of other attacks that I don't think she does in this fight, where she can do the jumping attack, lunge at you, in which case just roll to the same side as we've been attacking all this time. Lawnmower attack is where she's doing the flurry around her. Don't go near her, just run away. I prefer to run far away as well, because we can't punish it at all. The attack's going all around her. Called lawnmower attack for a reason. And I run far away because it stops her doing it. Because if you're relatively near her, she'll just continue doing it for longer. And you want to get rid of it as soon as possible, because otherwise it'll just waste your buffs. I mean, unless she did this 4 or 5 times in a row. And then we roll to the side, go in, and I finish her off here. Oh, maybe not. And I finish her off here. There we go. But yeah, pretty much every attack other than the lawnmower you can punish wet nurse on. That 3 attack, which I recommend to aggro the 2nd and 3rd attack, you can run in to punish the side of it. During this later half, during the second half of the boss fight, when she's got less than half her health, that 3 attack will happen quicker. So she'll strike faster, so you need to be aware of that. She doesn't do it in this fight, but she does do that quicker, so you need to be aware of that. Still bait out the attacks. You can still punish it. Just be aware that you will need to run away quicker when that's happening. And I think the only other attack you need to be aware of, or that I can think of, is where she does a thrust attack with her sides, which will go directly forward, which you just need to be aware of it, roll out of range, and make sure you're not in the way, as after she's done that thrust attack, that'll spread out and do a mini AoE attack in front of her, so just be out of the way for that as well. That's quite a rare one though. But one thing that isn't shown in here but can happen quite often is Mergo can act, or Wet Nurse can act very weird sometimes. Like I say, she always, in this fight at least, she always jumps to the side, which she should sort of always do. But sometimes she just won't. She'll go into an attack or she'll do something different. In which case, you need to be really cautious, run away from her, roll away from her, and try to sort of get her back into a rhythm, as that's just her glitching out and she can do weird stuff. Like she's jumped into walls, she's attacked walls, she's done attacks out of nowhere. If you see her, if she doesn't jump away when you're at her side, roll away, take your time, make sure she's not going to do anything extra weird. You just need to be extra cautious. Can be dealt with, you just need to be aware of it. But yeah, that's Wet Nurse. Probably the one with the most attacks to learn, but it's honestly one of the funnest funnest bosses to learn in this run, as pretty much all the attacks can be punished, and you can go through it pretty quickly as well. But that's Bloodborne Hitless. If there is any questions, like I say, this was just one run, one example of the bosses. The routes should be the same every time. If you do as I've shown in this video, they'll happen every time, you'll get through it. The bosses can have some variations, apart from stuff like Amelia, One Reborn a little bit, Bloodstained Beast a little bit. But if there is any queries, anything I missed, anything weird that happens, anything unclear at all, be sure to put in the comments below. I'll be sure to get back to you. As well as I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/wayofloki, where I stream various challenge runs, including this one. So if there is any queries, you can also ask there. And I hope you enjoy and hope you found this video useful. Final thing to do is obviously speak to German and submit our live. That finishes the game, and that makes this run Bloodborne any percent no hit complete. Hope you enjoyed. Shall catch you in the next video. Have a good day.